Your blonde bombshell here with you. I'm here to report about Mr. 45. Um, he was such a nice, kind guy, very compassionate, very caring, and our time together, I could tell that he is very rigid on his schedule, which that's great. Um, but I don't know. I won't say that there won't be another date if he decides to text me. There might be, but I don't know if I could adjust to that lifestyle. Um, he's a contractor foreman on many jobs. He paints, um, and I don't know. I went through this with Mike, but it was a different version of it, where he was a wrestler and he was on the road and he just wasn't going to be at home. Um, and with my trust issues that I have, to tolerate a relationship, you have to be understanding and giving, and you have to be able to trust, and you have to be able to know that there's no cheating going on. Let's face it, that part I don't know if I'll ever be 110 on, but I don't know if that would ever be meant to be. We shared a great little snack at the snack bar, and the date I was okay. I mean, we sat there and we talked. We learned a lot about each other today. Um, we took a restroom break, and I know this is crazy, but I judge dates by how much you're focused on the date and how much you are. Well, I mean, look at Mr. CB. When we went on that 3-hour date, no one went to the restroom. We stayed there, we sat, we talked. And to me, that showed that there was interest and there was going to be another date. No matter what went down or what was said or whatever BS reason you can think of that their second date didn't happen, the first date, let alone, showed great promise. And when I went to the restroom and this lady was in the restroom, older lady, she was just traveling through, but she says, "Oh dear," because I was washing my hands. She looked over, she goes, "I can tell you're deeply troubled." And I said, "Well, I'm," and she goes, "Let me finish that. You're here on a first date?" And I said, "Well, how can you tell?" And she goes, you have that look." And I said, "Well, thank you. I hope that's good." And she goes, "I think it's a nice guy, but the wrong guy." And it was just really weird how she could say that. And I said, "Well, kinda, I mean, he's a really great guy." And she's like, "Well, maybe it's like what happened with me and my husband." And she told me this story about how her and her husband had shared a great date about 21 years ago. And then they lost touch for about a year. She said a year to the exact day that they had decided to part ways, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she got a phone call and that he was in the hospital with something. She goes, of course, the decision was up to her to either go and see him or not go. But then she thought about, what if I don't go and this is the last chance and he passes on, even if it may be something serious or may not be. She goes, I had to let my feelings be known. So she says at that moment, she goes, I went in and seen how he was doing. She goes, little did I know he just cut a finger. She says, but she goes, God has perfect timing. And she goes, maybe it's not right now, maybe it's not next year, next month, or whatever. She says, but maybe God's going to complete the circle and bring you two back together. And I said, you don't know how much I have hoped for that. And she goes, you're doing the wrong thing. Quit hoping and put more prayer into that faith, hope, and love. And she goes, you'll be amazed at the results. So I'm going to take her advice. I'm going to put more prayer into it. I'm going to go back focusing on me for a while. I'll still keep my dating profiles up and everything, and I'll be friendly and whatever, but going on another date when it's not Mr. CB, I don't know. Seems like a waste of time to me. I know that you shouldn't put your hopes into one bottle that may never come true. But it was so strange when you have that feeling and you just know that it's meant to be, that it's right, it's the one. I don't know. You just shouldn't have to work so hard at it, right? It should flow easily. What's that Tanya Tucker song? If it don't come easy, you better let it go. I texted the nice guy and thanked him for his time and for the meal and the opportunity to get to know him. Of course, he said that, he looked for the opportunity to get together again in the future. If it happens, great. If not, great. I've learned that if the man wants something, he has to be the one to pursue the opportunity with the young lady. And that's how I am. I'm old-fashioned. I don't want to go anymore chasing waterfalls, if you will, for me to wind up with tears in my eyes and wondering what I did wrong this time. The heart wants what it wants. Whether it's right or wrong, or whether it makes someone else happy, it has to make me happy first. I refuse to give up hope. I refuse to give up on faith, letting God show me the way. Because where there is hope, there is a way. Where there is faith, there's a way. Because the greatest gift that God gave us is love. So may that be the greatest lesson of today. Amen.